Hey Cougars, this is Mr. Cook, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to set up a chart in order to enter the data from the rocket unit. We're going to be using a program called Google Sheets, so let's start by opening Google Sheets. To get to it, open any Google program and go up to the waffle. Inside the waffle, you'll probably need to scroll down until you find the green icon that says Sheets. Once it opens, click on Blank Sheet, and it's going to look like this. This is called a spreadsheet, and it is a very powerful calculator. We're going to use this spreadsheet in order to enter all of the data from our rocket unit and create a graph, which is called a scatter plot. And we're going to use that scatter plot to predict the distance that our rocket will travel at different plunger heights. So let's look at this. This is our goal for the chart. We'll have all of our data entered in it. Here's our different plunger heights and our different trials. Once we get that data in, we will average it all together. And then in the next video, I will teach you how to take that data and create a chart called a scatter plot and enter this line, which in this chart is orange. And this chart, this line is called a trend line, and it's what we will use to help predict the distance that our rocket will travel based on the x-axis here, which has the plunger height. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Opening up a new spreadsheet, we're going to name it your first name and last name. So I'll put in Mr. Cook, and then I'm going to put rocket. Then we are going to give a heading. We're going to in cell A1. We're going to type plunger height. And we're going to enter the values that we shot on the plunger. We used height 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said 1. It should be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we enter these in A2, A3, A4, A5, and A6. Across the top, we're now going to enter our trials. So across the top, we're going to enter our trials. So I'm going to say trial 1, trial 3. And we'll continue entering all the way through until we get to trial 10. Once we get to trial 10, we have all of the places for our data. So when we shot at plunger 1, trial 1, we'll enter that data here in column B, cell 2, or row 2, excuse me, and that would be cell B2. All the way through, we'll fill in this data. But we need one more feature out here. We need to average all of these trials together. So we're going to come out here to cell L1, and click on it. We're then going to enter a function. This backwards E is called a function. We're going to click on the drop-down menu and go down to average. And inside these brackets here, the computer's going to tell us, hey, we don't know what you want to average. And I just realized that I'm in the wrong cell, so let's cancel that out. And let's do it again in the cell below it. This will be our average here in L2 for plunger height 2. So we're going to go to L2, click on the upside down E, and choose average. Then I want to click, hold, and drag all of my data from trial 1 to trial 10 and press enter. Now, in L2, we can look up in the function bar, and it says we want the average of cell B2 to K2. And that's here. B2, C2, D2, E2, F, G, H, I, J, and K2. But we get this weird error. It says the number divided by 0, and then a warning. The reason we're getting this error right now is we have no data filled in for our trial. So I'm going to go through and just make up some data. You will use your real data from the shooting. And you see here that it is now averaging those numbers based on what's in this row. We could come down to trial 3, trial 4, trial 5, and trial 6 and just re-enter that information, come up here, go to average, and so forth. But there's a much easier way. By clicking on the file here, L2, the cell here, L2, we can select the little tiny blue box in the bottom right corner and drag it down. And this fills in each box with what needs averaged. So again, grabbing that little blue box and dragging it down copies our formula for us. You'll also notice that we have warnings. Again, that is because we have no data in our sheet. So let's make this one all 6s and 7s, and pretend this is the data we got. Make this one all 9s and 10s. Make this one's all 12s and 13s. I stuck a 14 in there. And let's make this one all 16s and 17s. And again, I'm just making up data. You would use the real data that you calculated when you did the trials. So when we look at our averages now, our averages are all in place for us. Last thing I'm going to recommend that you do is put a border around all of this. So I'm just going to click on L6 here. I'm going to click, hold, and drag all the way up to A1 so that I have all the data selected. I'm going to find this little icon that looks like a window and click on it, and find the icon again that looks like a window and click on it, and it puts a nice bold black line across our data. Alright, so this is the end of video 1. At this point in time, you should have trial 1 through 10 across the header of your chart, plunger height 2 through 6 down the rows of your chart. You should have your actual chart data in. And if you don't have all 10 trials, that's fine. Just leave them blank. It does not affect the chart. So I'll show you that. Just going through and delete these real quick. And you'll see that it averages it all just fine with this blank data. And then the final thing that you should have is your average. All right, in video number 2, we'll talk about how to graph this.